Wonderful. Let me start with Mr. Stevens. How is the LRA?
LRA is well. Every day we embrace our giving mandate and trust to collect legitimate revenue for the government and people of Liberia, and we embrace it. So much. We endeavor every day to deliver on it because it is the mandate that's been given us, and we strive to do our very, very, very best to do that with a customer focus.
Okay, good. Now we will start with you and go across the table. What is this thing uh, about this letters? I'm talking about a letters digital integration. Uh, yeah, okay, sir.
So
Mr. Boni.
LITAS is the acronym for Liberia Integrated Tax Administration System.
Okay.
So we, as a revenue administration, has been going through ICT revolution. Initially, we had a standardized integrated governmental tax administration system called SIGTAS for short. And that system was off-the-shelf system, which we bought for the purposes of managing our tax administration. Now, we thought it wise that with the kind of difficulties we've been having with the system, with some of the shortcomings of that system, instead of us going for an off-the-shelf system, let us go for a customized system. So we got an off-the-shelf system, and then we customize it, we domesticate it to our liking. That is the reason why instead of it being a just tax administration system, it is the Liberia Integrated Tax Administration System because it is customized to our local standard. Now, LITAS is a system that has or that is used to manage tax administration. So when I talk about tax administration, it has different components. You have the component of registration, where your TIN is generated. It has a component of filing your return, where you submit your annual return, your quarterly return, or monthly return, against which your assessment is raised, your bank payment slip is raised. And it also has the payment of a component of payment. The system also
What is that component of payment?
So I'll further discuss everything, but let me
Okay.
list the
No,
components
okay.
that the system has, then we can go into
No
the
problem.
nitty-gritty.
You are good.
So it has a component of payment. The system also has a component of arrears management and enforcement. The system has a component of audit. The system has a component of reconciliation. The system has a component of compliance management. So there are different components where tax administration is concerned. Now, because there are different components of tax administration, we don't want to run parallel system all around the place. Every division or every unit having different system. So if every unit has different system, what happens is a taxpayer is going to go to this unit, move from there, go to that unit, go to the other unit. So what we intend doing, or what we did, was to integrate all of those components into one system. So it is one system, but it has various components. So if you do a transaction with one component of the system, all other components of the system that is related to the transaction you are doing, they see those transactions in real time. So LITAS is a standardized integrated system that is used for tax administration. Another thing is the system also have the capability of integrating with third parties. As we speak, we have already integrated with the National Identification Registry. So what that does is, if you move to the LRA for the purposes of registering or obtaining your tax identification number as an individual, we're not going to ask you for your entire particular, your name, your pa name, your man name, your date of birth. No, we just ask you for your National Identification Registry number. Once we put it into our system, that number calls all of the details that you have supplied to the National Identification Registry straight into our database. So it saves you the time of now coming to enter your data. It saves you the time of providing the information that you have already provided to the National Identification Registry. It's a kind of one-stop shop that easing the cost of compliance.
People will, Mr. Boni, people will like say this is a complicated process because coming from one point to another, a lot of people would just feel like you just want to confuse them. At the end of the day, they just turn back their process.
So to reduce the complexity, that is the reason why we have this integrated system. So this system, how it works
You
is,
think it's not really complex?
once you know how to identify a letter A, B, C, D, then you're able to switch on your iPhone, your Android phone, your Techno phone, or whatsoever. You can operate that system. So what the system does is, instead of even you moving to the LRA to go and do transaction, you can sit anywhere and then do your transaction with ease. So the system, like I was saying earlier, in as much as we have already integrated with the National Identification Registry, we are also looking forward to integrate that system with the utility companies. We have currently integrated with all of the commercial banks, and there are 2 commercial banks that we are going live with in real time as we speak. That is the reason why we are here, to educate the public as to how to use the system, how to use it to process your tax identification number, how to use it to file in your returns, both annual, quarterly, and monthly return, how to use the system to generate your assessment, how to use the system to generate your bank payment slip, and then you can use the banking platform to finalize the transaction by executing the payment, and then your receipt will automatically be generated for you. So all of what I have just explained, it takes someone who knows how to put up their smartphone or their computer, checks 5 to 10 minutes to get the entire process consummated.
So this is just a process for those who have access to smartphones, or it is a global thing. When I say global, the entire country, because there are people out there in the hinterland, and they should be some of your direct beneficiaries. Are they part of the system, or just people who have smartphones?
So the first and foremost reason for which we are moving digital is to reduce people coming to our offices to do transaction. The second reason is for convenience. The third reason is to reduce the cost of compliance for the taxpayer. So this system is not only in HQ. Let me hasten to say that we've already deployed the system in Grand Bassa County. So if you go Grand Bassa today, you'll be able to use the system there to do.
It's a regional thing.
You'll be able to use the system there to do the same transaction that you do when you come to ELWA Junction.
Okay.
If you go in Magibi County, both in Kakata and Marshall, the system is already deployed there. You'll be able to use the system to give you all of the functionalities that is being offered in HQ. In the coming days, we'll be in Banga, Ganta, and Fonjama, and we are gradually rolling out the system to the entire country so that everyone benefits from the flexibility.
So it's a regional system.
So we have the mandate to collect taxes from within the border of Liberia. So it is imperative upon us to ensure that whatever we do in Morovia is captured all around the country. Taxation is not muscle rider.
Okay, good. Mr. Stevens.
Yeah, let me just add to what my colleague just said.
No.
You know, automation of LRA processes and procedure have always been a goal for the institution. While we do it internally, this time, even before actually, and even more this time, we want to make sure that we integrate our system, or the system that we have can be integrated with other government institutions and even the private sector. And the bank plays a very critical role in terms of our tax collections, because a lot of our customers go to the bank and they pay, their taxes. And in most cases, they have been using manual. They have been paying manually, roll up and fill out the forms and so forth. So the LITA system is going to assist our customer to be able to transact their business from wherever they are once they have registered, with us, and they are integrated on the platform that the bank has. Okay, so this is the sole reason why we are even here this morning, because our goal is to make tax payments seamless for our customer. That's the goal. That's the goal of LRA. Additionally, like Amber said, this is going to really be cost effective to our taxpayer. Okay, it's going to reduce transaction cost from registration all the way to the payment, of taxes. So technology plays a huge role in this, and this is why we came to introduce our new system.
Are people really like buying the system, buying the idea?
like any change, it's going to take some time
take-
for our customers to adapt.
Yeah.
But I think once they get to use the system and understand the working of the system, I think they are going to embrace it because it's going to make life a lot easier for them.
Let me give you a real case scenario where people reception towards the system is concerned. On Saturday, around 10 o'clock in the morning, a taxpayer phoned in that she was to submit a bid on Monday and that she needed a tax clearance by Monday morning to go and submit her bid. So all I told her was log on to the tax administration system, the LETA system, and then file all of your returns. And then she did. It was a Saturday, LRA offices were closed. She filed her return, and then she processed her assessment, and then she got her bank payment slip. She said, but Ambrose, I've done everything. I've gotten my bank payment slip. Now, how do I go forward? I said, do you have a bank account with this bank? She said, yes. Okay, log on to that portal of the bank and make the payment. She was at her home. She logged on the bank account, and then she used that integration we have with the bank and then processed the payment. Upon processing the payments, she asked me for the next step. I said, go and request your tax clearance. Online, she requested her tax clearance. Because she was tax compliant, she got that tax clearance on Saturday. Even though our offices were closed, but she was able to file her returns.
How long does it take?
So like I said earlier, if someone who can put a phone on or know how to navigate the screen of a computer, it takes you less than 10 minutes to finalize all of that transaction.
Okay. Let me speak with the representation from the GT Bank, Madam Sawe. What is the involvement with from the anchor of GT Bank with the Liberia Revenue Authority?
So basically, because of the integration that has been done, as he said, we have a means of you making your payment easily to get your LRA tax paid, right? So we have different platforms that we offer, and we have like the GT World. We also have internet banking. We also have a process where you walk into the bank and get a transaction done. But if you're coming to the bank, basically you just need to provide your bill ID. Once you provide it, the teller behind the desk.
What is the bill ID?
It's an ID given by LRA that you use to pay your taxes.
Okay.
So once you're done with the registration process from LRA,
LRA.
they will obviously generate a bill ID for you to use during the process of making your payment through the bank. So when you come to the bank and you need to use the teller to make the payment, you just go there, give your bill ID. The teller will then relate with LRA through the system process. She will put in the bill ID, send information to LRA. LRA will then generate your information from their end, the amount you need to pay and everything else that you need to work with. Then you give the money to the teller. Then the teller can then credit LRA account from our bank. If you're using the bank system like maybe GT World or internet banking, you simply just have to. That is if you have a GT Bank account and you're a GT Bank customer, right? So you just have to go to either of the apps, go and do payments, put in your bill ID the same way. Once you do that, the system generates the information from LRA that we need. The same way LRA will get the information from the National Identification Registry Office. That's how we get information from them that you inputted to their system.
So many as a bank, you don't operate with a customer who doesn't have a bill from LRA.
That's why I said we operate with. Yes, you need to have a bill ID for you to be able to make a bill payment or tax payment to LRA. So if you don't have that number, we can issue. What are we issuing a payment to?
How has that been working for you as a banking institution?
So basically, we've had customers use it. It's a new service
new
introduced.
service.
Yes. So since we did the integration, customers have been using it. Mostly our corporate institutions have been using it to do their payments, and it has been working good for them so far.
So I just want to give further clarity
Yes, sir.
on the issue of the bill ID.
Yeah.
So prior to the integration, we had something called direct transfer, where taxpayers can also move to the bank and then fill in a form, and the bank will debit their account and credit the government transitory account in that bank. So that process was good, but again, we noticed some hitches because for us to process a tax certificate or tax receipt for you, in the process of the payment, you must supply the period for which you are paying, the tax time for which you are paying, the amount you are paying. There are basic information that you must provide. The taxpayers, when filling that form, sometimes make mistake with that details. So when the bank process it and send us the manual information either on the bank statement or through an Excel file, our team has the responsibility now to curate in our system before the receipt is generated. That process created a scenario where there are several taxpayers were not receiving their LRA receipts. And, you know, we so believe in receipt business in Liberia. So if you don't get your receipt, it's either the person didn't make the payment or something fraudulent has happened. So to move away from that entire process, you will process your bank payment slip on our system, which will generate all of the information that you initially will submit to the bank manually.
Okay.
So that information is in that document number. So immediately you provide that document number to the bank, they put it in their system. That document number is calling all of the details that initially you were submitting to them manually. So the automation makes it easier for the taxpayer to reduce the time on processing of the details. It also makes it easier for the bank teller to reduce his time for processing your payment. It also makes it easier in terms of data integrity. We get good data, and for the advantage of the taxpayer, you also get your tax receipts in real time.
How many banking institutions are you partnering with? Is it just GT Bank, or what? Because you have other banking institutions, LBD, Ecobank, UBA, other banking institutions. How many are there now that are partnered with LRA?
So we are intentional about this process. We began in October of 2021. We started the pilot phase, and then in 2022 we went live with large and medium taxpayers. Just a few weeks ago, we sent a circular to all of the banks stating that we've cutting off the end of this month. We're cutting off the issue of direct transfer, where taxpayer can work manually to the bank and then submit a form to be processed to process their tax payment. We're moving now to the integration. That is all taxpayer going to the bank to consummate tax transaction must submit a document number. That is, they have already processed the detail from our end. And come December 1, if a taxpayer walks into a bank without that document number, the bank wouldn't serve that taxpayer in terms of the payment of their taxes. Now, in terms of what are the banks that we are partnering with, we're partnering with all of the commercial banks that are under the obligation of collecting government taxes. So all of the commercial banks will be required to accept document number rather than accept the form for the direct transfer. Secondly, all of the banks are not on the same strength, and all of the banks will not have the same administrative structure. So we have finalized the integration with 2 commercial banks. We finalized the integration with
what are those banks?
Ecobank and GT Bank. So we are currently going live with Ecobank and GT Bank. We have done substantial work with all of the banks, but again, like I said, there are different processes and procedure in different banks. Some of it would need some funding to customize some part of their system. Some of it would need administrative approval. But with Ecobank and GT Bank, we have crossed all of the T and the dot all of the I's, and then we are going live with them. And subsequently, all the other banks will come online.
That's good.
Okay. Let me just add to what Ambrose just said. One of the key benefit of this integration is that it minimizes, right, human interference.
So these are all advantages for the new system.
Absolutely, and it minimizes human intervention with respect to these transactions. And secondly, it also gives visibility to our businesses and even individual, right? Because what it does, it brings a level of transparency, a level of accountability, to the transactions. So I think Ambrose talked about real time, right? Somebody receiving their receipt after they've pay their money to the bank, and it's processed through our system by LRA. And right then they're able to, get their receipt. They can download their receipt and they're able to print it. So all of our automation, for the most part, the goal is to learn, number one, to make, transaction a lot easier, to learn transparency, accountability, and reduce human interference with our system. Because our goal at LRA is always to strive, and we do that every day. We strive to ensure that we provide exceptional customer services and reduce, the cost of compliance. So all of these systems, all of these integration are geared towards that. And GT is being represented here today. The bank is a critical part, of our process of tax payment in Liberia. So we embrace the collaboration.
Good. Let me come back to the banker. What is or what are some of your reservations since then you got integrated into this new system as a banking institution? What are reservations? What have you noticed thus far in terms of improving what you do for the Liberian people through LRA, and what are things that you need to work on to improve the system?
Well, basically, I think exactly what we are working into right now is the best way. As he said, is speaks volume in transparency and accuracy in getting your work done on time. So as it is right now, you don't need to wait for bank to open to get what you need to get done. Banks, when you around to
so meaning now you as a banker, whenever you get to GT Bank, your physical human interactions with the people are like less.
It is less. That's what we are fighting for. Everybody is going digital because the interaction with humans.
Is that not making you lazy as a banker?
No, it's not, because the work is actually done in the back end, regardless of what the customer.
You just finish it. You are the finished product.
Exactly. So the work becomes heavier when people do the work while you're sitting at home and expect results. So you don't have to be seeing people every day to get their jobs done. You have to at least make it work for them while you're sitting in the comfort of their home. You just operate
on an abstract level.
Exactly. So this is going to make things far more easier, especially with the internet banking products. You can just sit from anywhere, as he said, even on Sundays and Saturdays, regardless of whether banking hours are available or not, whether the bank is open or not. Regardless of that, you can do your transaction from home. You can just go on the system, do what you need to do, put the information in you need to put in, and that's going to get your work done easily without even having to walk to the bank. Imagine you being out of the country, you need to pay LRA taxes, and you need to get it done on time in a Sunday. What do? Using your banking app is going to make it far easier than for you to worry about coming back to Liberia, going to the bank, standing in line, waiting for teller to get ready to take your collection before you can get this done. So I think the integration process is going to really help the work of making things easier for Liberians, and people should really take into it to try to get into the digital world, because the digital world is not waiting for anybody anymore, and we all need to integrate into that world because it's going to make life far more easier, make interaction with people far less. So you don't have to worry about somebody frowning their face at you when you go to do your deposit. You can just sit at home, do it with your computer. Your computer will not frown at you, will not tell you, hey, I don't want to be bothered at this point in time, or whatever the case is. Even though that is not what we practice at the institutions we work with. But yes, some days people wake up and they don't want to be bothered. You don't have to worry about that part. You yourself wake up in the morning, you don't want to even get out of your bed. You just want to sit there, do everything from home. And if you can get that done from home, why have to come to the bank? So I think the integration process is making it far easier, and the transparency process in it is even what's better.
Do you have recommendations to LRA as a banking house? If so, what could be that?
Well, as I said, I think LRA integration process is one of the best they've done.
So so you feel complacent as a bank?
I feel good with the integration process. I feel like it's a win-win situation for
Don't you need more value addition in the system?
Well, the system is up to date.
It's up to date.
The fact that I can send a customer bill ID and constantly the system can provide the information.
The internet connectivity, is it working perfectly?
The internet connectivity works with your end as a customer. It's not from
from the bank.
or LRA. It works from your
So
end.
the question I'm asking is, as a banking institution, if you are happy with this new system,
Yes, we
you
are.
should be prayerful indeed. The internet system is workable from the ends of your customers, of your people you interact with, because you understand that the internet system in our country sometimes it gets so bad, and the systems across us around us don't just work perfectly as we expect.
So let me interject in this one. The issue of internet is a challenge when it comes to our system, because we have put into place several things to mitigate that. Like she said, the LRA internet is working properly. The GT Bank internet is working properly. The integration, the process that allows GT Bank to access LRA or LRA accessing GT Bank, it has been tested and everything is working properly. From the end of the taxpayer, the end user who is accessing either the EcoBank platform or the GT Bank platform or the LRA platform should ensure that his or her internet is working properly, because the systems are online. If your internet is not working properly, definitely you don't have access. Even though our systems are on, but because your internet is not working properly, you wouldn't be able to.
So meaning your prayer too should be the mobile communication networks in our country merged.
That should be all of us prayer as I do, so that the internet works properly.
Right. This is a national issue. All right. This is not only restricted to the bank or to LRA.
Yeah.
We have issue with electricity in our country. We have issue with internet connectivity in our country, and so these are challenges. But I think we've come a long way. It's getting better and better every day.
Sure.
And we are optimistic about our success with this integration.
And another point I want to push clearly is at the LRA, we don't just come up with a product and push it in the market. There are a lot of feasibility studies that have been done with respect to the doability of these systems and how well taxpayers will be able to access this system. We take into consideration the challenges faced by taxpayers, as well as the infrastructure systems we have in LifePro. And with all of this study has been proven that system is good. The integration of the banks are also good, and then taxpayers can be able to consummate their transaction using.
I'm curious to know as to whether this system is really secured.
Okay, before we talk about the security of the system, let's first speak about the benefits of the system. Even though we have said a lot of the benefits in passing, but let's be specific in terms of each of the models and how taxpayer benefits from them. Now, with the issue of registration, initially, to register a company, a taxpayer must go to LBR, get a form from LBR, populate that form, submit it back to LBR. LBR goes into their system and check and do a name check to validate that the name on your business form, that name doesn't exist already in LBR systems. Once that validation is done, the taxpayer proceeds to LRA and then fill in another form to process that tax identification number. Now we on the process of trying to integrate with LBR. That process is not finalized. So for a business corporation, you will still have to go to LBR, get that form, and then go through the name validation. Once it is validated, you can log on to LRA's platform, and then you populate the information that is required from the LRA side. Automatically, the system will also do a background check from our database to ensure that your name is correct. There is no duplication in terms of your registration, or duplication in terms of your registration.
Sure.
There are cases where people register business and then that business is closed without communicating to the LRA, and they get one money, get another contract, try to register the same business again. So if you have had business in the system and you try registering again, the system automatically say, hey, that business is already registered and this is are the duties. So if you want, we can give you the TIN certificate instead of going and then re-registering that business to have a duplication in our system. The system does that. So if the system goes through the duplication check and it notice that you are not duplicated, the system generates the TIN certificate, tax identification certificate for you, and communicates same to you. So you can either download it through a platform, or you can go through your email, because you have to obviously supply an email to the system. So the system starts to communicate with you through either email or text message. So you go down to your email and then download your TIN certificate. That process is done. It's less than 10 minutes. That process is done. You don't have to transport yourself to the LRA offices. You don't have to have any interaction with anyone. That process is done. Once you have your TIN number, the next thing you have to do is to file your return. So there are several returns: the withholding returns, the annual filing returns, the GST, the quarterly return. Whichever return you want to file, you don't again need to come to LRA and collect form. Go back home, fill in the form, do calculation. There are many times people taking it doing in a manual environment. People take the form. There are calculation errors. There are transposition of number. There are omission of required fee for which you have to go back and forth for us to settle it before we process it in the system. Now with the automated system, you can file your return. The system does the calculation by itself. If there is an omission in your submission, the system will not submit that return. The system will prompt you to ensure that you fill in the required fields before the system submits the return. If the system submits that return, you can generate your assessment. Once you generate the assessment and have the assessment number, you can now proceed to the payment side and generate your payment document number, which is what you will take to the bank for processing of the payment. You will sit right there, and on that system, you'll be able to generate your document number. Now, once the document number is generated, you can now go to the banking platform to make a payment. Again, what the system does is, like I said, there's a communication between the taxpayer and the automated system. If there are due dates coming, and maybe you will forget about the due date, the system prompts you that, hey, you have 3 more days to the due date for this particular tax kind. You have 4 more days. And on the due date, the system will also prompt you that today is the due date. So the reason why the system is prompting you is so that you know that the due date has come for you to file a return. Because if you don't file a return or do your payment as and when the due date comes into force, after the due date, there are consequences. You will have to pay penalty and interest based on the calculation as set in the Liberian Revenue Code. So the system prompts you to, as a means of reminding you so that you don't go into paying additional penalty and interest. Now, in terms of benefit, there are many instances where you have people proxying for you as a business person. So with this system, you have a 360-degree look of your tax credential. That includes your biodata information, the kind of tax accounts we open for you, your tax account balances. So like you have account with the bank every month or so, you request for a bank statement. For us, in a real time, you can log onto that platform and see all of the transactions that have been done on each of those tax accounts. You will be able to look at the tax account and say, hey, I'm into manufacturing activities, so I shouldn't be paying service tax. I should only be paying goods tax. We'll be able to go to the system and validate that information. If you should indeed you are only doing manufacturing, we'll definitely close service tax for you. The service tax becomes no longer a liability for you. If there is a transaction done on your account and you see that your account is not balanced properly, you communicate to us. Say, hey, this account is not debit or credited properly. We will be able to go through that case and do the necessary adjustment. If you give your money to someone to go and make payment on your behalf, you will be able to get their light that payment was done or not. If the payment wasn't done, you can say, hey, I asked you to make such payment. I haven't seen that payment in my tax account. What is going on? So as an owner or manager of a business, you don't have to come to LRA to know what's happening in your account.
You go to the person directly.
You need to sit right in front of a computer or your phone and check into the system and see everything that is happening with respect to your tax compliance, your tax account, your biodata information, if your name is misspelled, if your location is changed. Once you look in the system, you're able to see your location is there and just tell us, hey, I've changed my location, we update it. If you have a phone number of your previous manager that is in the system and your manager has been dismissed and you have another person and you want to change that, so you have, it's like your tax information, your tax detail, everything is in your hands. So it's no longer a time to be going to the LRA back and forth and to try to correct some of the things. So these are some of the essential benefits that this system comes with, in addition to other benefits that we won't be able to enumerate at this point.
Mr. Stevens, when you speak about the security of the system.
So in terms of security,
I think Ambrose, the technician, can do a better job at that.
Okay.
In terms of security, that's one of the first and foremost key characteristics that we look out for in building a tax administration system.
Okay.
Tax information confidential, and everyone within the LRA are on oath to keep taxpayer information confidential. So we definitely have to employ systems that will be able to manage that. Again, the entire country rests on the taxes we collect. So if we don't secure the information or the processes on how we collect taxes, definitely we're going to go into crisis. So for the purpose of security, all of the applications that is hosted on their system, they are genuine applications from the leg of Oracle and then from the leg of Microsoft, and they come with genuine security features, and they come with certificate. So these entities, after buying the equipment from them, they give certificate of security certificate that this system has this security certificate, and when deployed, there will be no invasion into that system.
Nobody.
There will be no invasion into that system. Secondly, because of the fact that we are putting the system into the public domain by ensuring or allowing people to log on the system from the web, there are also security implications into that, and that we ensure that these security implications are dealt with and minimized to the best of our ability. For the fact that we are also integrating with third parties, and if you ask the GT Bank people, they will tell you, the GT Bank will tell you, say, this is my security, this is my firewall, this is how much you can go. You can go beyond this point. LRA will say, okay, this is my firewall, this is my security point. You can go beyond this point. So you have two pillars of security in the two systems. So if you come into my system, there are allowable points that you can reach. If I'm coming to your system, there are allowable points that you can reach. So those securities are built between the two systems before the integration is done. Now, with respect to those that are accessing the system from in-house, there are also security implications and security processes and procedures that are also deployed. There are passwords, security passwords that are being given to people to log onto the system. There are levels. So as Ambrose Bonny, I don't have total leverage to the systems. There are places I can go. There are places that I can go. And even as Ambrose Bonny, if I do a particular work on the system, there are approval levels. I don't go from A to Z. Maybe my responsibility will be from A to J, and then someone picks it up from the other place. And so there are security levels, and they are based on. Again, there are also audit trail. Everything that I do on that system is recorded. So tomorrow somebody can go and see who did this debit,
Okay.
who did this credit, who did this taxpayer information, who updated this taxpayer information. So I cannot sit here and tell you all of the security feature, but I can show you that there are a whole lot of securities that some of which I don't even know about, because again, like I told you, there are levels.
Sure.
So the higher you go in terms of the level, the higher the security becomes.
So meaning with all of those security features you just spoke about, the issue of having some hype in the system is not something that you can even dream about.
We are confident about the security level we have for the system.
Mr. Stevens?
No, I think Ambrose just elaborated. We are very confident about this. These systems don't come very easily. Especially, I want to believe that our LITA system costs over $5 million. So these are not like off the shelf stuff that we just deploy at LRA.
$5 million US?
Oh, yes, it costs over that. And so we have to ensure.
How did they generate the money?
We have partners. We have partners that help us with respect to the fundings, but we just want to ensure that our customers' accounts are protected. So Ambrose talk about two pillars of security, because he was speaking from the point of LRA pillar, and the banks itself has another pillar, right, of security when it comes to transacting on our platform, because we want to make sure that taxpayer accounts are fully are protected. And he talked about audit trail. That is even important as well. So the people who maybe try to attempt to undermine the system, we can easily pick it up as well.
Okay, listeners, if you just joined us, you're listening to the Super Morning Show on ELBC 99.9 and other frequencies across Liberia. And those of you watching us online from across the world on LMTV social media platform, we want to say congratulations to all of you and the community radio stations as well that keep relaying our programs here at State Radio. If you're out there and you want to ask our guests some questions, the invitation is yours now to call us on 0880-514-096, 0880-514-096-07. Alternatively, you can call these numbers 077-597-8530. But I will come to I will get back to Madam Ranti Sawe from GT Bank. But let's take a few calls. I know she wants to provide certain information to the public. Let me talk to this person. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How you doing?
Okay, I'm Dennis S. Lauren Bobo, calling from the Country Division,
Okay, Lawrence from Foya, and the guests are here. Please go ahead with your concern. You've gone in a hole, Lawrence Bobo. Please come from where you just entered. We're not getting you. You are very low. Please, you are low. You can call back. Let's talk to this person. Good morning. Oh, I don't know what's happening with the line. Good morning. Okay, 0886-324-740, 0886-324-740, or 077-597-8530, 077-597-8530, or 0886-324-740. You can call these numbers and be live on the program this morning. My guests, I from the Liberia Revenue Authority, a person of Isaac B. Stevens, Assistant Commissioner for Taxpayer Services at LRA, and Ambrose Abuni. He's the Manager for Modernization and Transformation Domestic Tax Department at the LRA. They are my guests this morning, so you can call and have your say. And Madam Ranti Sawe comes from GT Bank as well. Let me see if I can get this person. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. S. Lauren Bobo, you back. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I'm there right now.
Go ahead quickly. Oh, hey, Lawrence Bobo, I'm so sorry. I can just get you. Good morning. Good morning. Morning. Oh, I don't know what's happening. Please leave from the radio if you want to be a part of the program this morning, because we don't want to be distorted. This morning, let me take this call. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, I'm King Councilor calling from Sino.
Okay, let's hear you from Sino.
Yeah, I just want to appreciate the studio guests in studio there. But I just want to ask a question. I want to know who are those who pay taxes in Liberia.
Okay, that's all?
Yeah, that's my question.
Thank you. Who are those who pay taxes in Liberia? Good question. They will answer you. 0880-514-096, 0886-324-740, 077-597-8530. You can call these numbers and let's talk right here. You can address the concern before we get to Madam Sawe. She has a concern to provide.
Yeah, the caller asks who pays taxes in Liberia. I want to let him know that Liberia, we administer 7 kinds of taxes, correct? We administer 7 kinds of taxes. But in essence, or in short, if you earn revenue in Liberia, if you have any revenue source, for the most part, you are required to pay taxes. And then those that also have real properties located within the length and breadth of this country also pay taxes. So if you're working for money, you pay taxes. If you're running a business, you pay taxes. If you import goods into the country, you pay taxes. There are SR tax. We have personal income tax. We have business income tax. So as long as you are generating income, you have to pay taxes on those income. Well, right.
Okay. Let me. I want to ask you this question. Maybe you have further further information to provide. What does it mean for you as a bank to have this integration with you and the LRA? What does it mean for you precisely, and that of the customers who are banking with your institution?
Well, this is going to make banking easier for our customers, as I said before, and it's a good deal for them. The fact that they're able to even use our platforms to get these transactions done without having to come to the bank. So our customers who already have an account, you can even self-register for the banking products. GT World or internet banking, yourself can register. Once you go and put your account number, you can just add the rest of the information as the system will ask you to provide, and then you can sign up yourself. So once you are signed up to these things, you can easily do the transactions with these different tax payments on our platforms. So it's going to make banking easier for our customers. That's a good thing for them.
That's good. Let me take this person. I guess is good morning. Good morning. I don't know what's happening with this line. I just don't know what's happening with our base line this morning. 080514096. You can call me on these numbers. These are alternative numbers. 0800514. That's 086-324-740 or 0775978530. Let me talk to this person. Good morning.
Yeah,
Good morning, sir. Please, I beg, can you please leave from the radio or you lower the volume? I don't want to cut you off because your information might be so helpful to the public. Please lower the volume of the radio.
Yeah, but no radio there.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead now. You okay?
Okay, yes. Somebody asked the question about the taxpayer. Because some of us, we don't know how to pay the tax. Whether if you are working, whether it says your employer cutting the tax off or not, we don't know because they don't put it there. But then, if you get a home, they say you are to pay tax. How with this? I want to ask the guest in studio whether he has a specific way of telling us how to pay the taxes.
Okay, thank you. He will speak to that. You want to?
Yeah, we can just go through. I think the first caller asks, is the same caller perhaps asks for if you are working. If you are working, you're supposed to pay what we call personal income tax or withholding tax. Your employer has the fiduciary responsibility. Your employer serves as an agent for the LRA to calculate the personal income tax or the withholding from your pay and remit it to the Liberia Revenue Authority. If you make 70,000 in Liberia, the law says if you make 70,000 LD and above, okay, let's just say 71,001, $70,001 and above, you are supposed to pay taxes. If you make 70,000 or less, you don't have to pay taxes, but your personal income tax is deducted from your salary or should be deducted from your salary by your employer and remitted to the Liberia Revenue Authority. And if you have a tax identification number, it will be credited both to you as an individual payer and also to your institution or the organization you work for will also be credited for the taxes paid. And somebody talk about if you have a home, you will be paying what we call real property tax. Yeah, okay. Yeah, if you have a business house in the building, you also have to pay property tax. If you have land, you're supposed to pay property tax. But it starts with coming to LRA and registering your property with us, and then the value is determined either by you if it is residential. If it is commercial, we ask that you obtain the services of an architect or an engineer to do a valuation of your property, and you take a picture of it, bring your DLRA, and I promise you within 10-15 minutes we'll get your tax identification number and be able to register your property so you can begin to pay your real property tax.
Okay, I can take like 5 more calls and we will call it a day. Let me take this person from this line. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. One more. I'm doing the concern call for final.
Quickly.
Yeah, my question, while the honorable man answer, but inside we pay rentage to do property. But are they paying private to the bank government?
All right.
We have it, we make it for people who have it.
Thank you.
Private to the bank government.
Thank you. He got you. Let me take this person quickly. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Morning. Please go ahead. We don't have time.
I'm Garrison Chipley. I'm joining from Fishtown, River County.
Go ahead.
I'm in commercial of City Girls this money from the NRA office. I want to understand something concerning the taxes. How are they managing the taxes?
All right. Thank you. I take this last call. Morning.
Good morning.
Morning. Please go ahead.
Okay, I'm a question for you. Okay, I have a property on land, or host the property on the land, and I also have a business within that building. And I have a business lesson for AI. But the host on the land, I haven't the energy for the host on the land from dealing with AI with the business I'm making. How can I get a document for the land I'm on with the host I'm making?
Thank you. Thank you. Quickly.
I'm not sure I understood the last question very well, but somebody talks about renting a property. I don't really want to shift the focus from what we are here for
because
this morning, but let me just very quickly go through this. The house you're renting, number one, there's what we call a rental income tax, and that's 10%, right, of whatever the rental fee is on that property should be paid to the Liberian Revenue Authority, and it should be collected by the land by the lessee. The person who is renting the house should take 10% of whatever they are required to pay in the yearly or quarterly, whatever they are required, with the different time frame. They are supposed to pay that 10%. Beyond that, the owner of the property is generating income by renting that property or by leasing that property, and so they are supposed to pay a business income tax on the receipt from the renters that are paid to the landlord. And then somebody I think talk about how do you manage the taxes. No, like I said earlier, our mandate is to collect legitimate revenue for the people and government of Liberia. When we collect the money, we are not the one who appropriate. That is done by the legislature. All right. Our is to collect the money and send it to the Ministry of Finance. Finance working with the House of Representatives and the Senate are the one that appropriate funding. So we don't do that. Our job is to collect revenue, legitimate revenue.
Finally, just like 5 seconds.
I think she has something that she wanted to say.
Yeah, she provided the information. So finally,
I'd like to just say optimizing revenue collection is our goal, and a lot of time we have to do this in collaboration with other institutions, and we also have to do this through automation. And this is why we are here this morning, to let our taxpayers know that you are the focus of our heart, and our goal is to provide exceptional customer services to you to facilitate the payment of your taxes with ease. And this is what these integrations are for. And I just want to thank the banks that we are dealing with right now. We are here with GT Bank. Yesterday we were Echo Bank and other banks to come online. That we appreciate the cooperation between our institution and your institution, especially this collaboration that we have mobilized revenue to finance the development agenda of our country.
Thank you, Mr. Stevens. Sawi?
So basically, we would just like to encourage all our customers, if you have an account with us and you want to pay your taxes using the platform, you can either just register yourself using GT World or internet banking. which you can download the GT World app from Apple Store or Android Play Store, and you can get yourself registered. If you have any questions or any confusions and you need clarity, you can either stop at any of our branches, and our customer service people there will be able to provide you the needed information that you will be seeking.
Thank you, Sawie.
Yeah.
Mr. Bonnie, quickly.
So again, we are encouraging our taxpayers. We've started drawing down on our legacy system. So we appealing and encouraging you to move onto our new tax administration system. Don't wait in the last days and then start a rush. At that point in time, we'll be dealing with so much people, and it also costs you additional penalty and interest. So within this period, let's start to transition. Ensure that you come to the LRA or give us a call so we assist you on how you can move from the legacy system to the new system, so that when the new legacy systems are shut down, you don't have any challenges, you will not accrue any penalty nor interest.
Thank you so much. It was wonderful.
Yeah, let me just leave this number. Some people called, we didn't really have the time to explain fully. So please call our telephone line at 0770-572-572 if you have any question related to what we discussed here today, as well as other tax issues that you need answers for or clarity for. Please call our hotline 0770-572-572. This is our customer service number. You can call it during working hours, and we'll be able to respond to any of your questions that you may have that are related to what we do at LRA.
Thank you so much for coming this morning, Mr. Stevens, and that of you, Ranti, and Mr. Bonnie as well. Thanks ever so much for coming this morning.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Okay. Well, then having in studio Azabi Stevens, Assistant Commissioner for Taxpayer Services, the Liberia Revenue Authority, Ambrose Bonnie, Manager of Modernization and Transformation Domestic Tax Department at the LRA, and also in here was Ranti Sawie, GT Bank business team she represented on this platform. So thanks ever so much.